Assalamu alaikum students. This is our fifth week and the 10th lecture. So today our agenda is we will discuss what are the Android services, Android services life cycle, and what are the Android services methods. So what are the Android services? First of all, what is the service actually? A service is a component that runs in the background to perform long running operations without interacting with the user, and it works even if application is destroyed. It keeps on running in the background. It doesn't affect by some other component. If some other component is being destroyed, it keeps on running. So here is a little short note for you. The Android.app.service is a subclass of context wrapper class, and Android service is not a thread, a separate process. I hope you people got this point, that it is the subclass of context wrapper class. So what are the service states? It is very important that we must know that there are two states, started state and bounded state. In the start, it generates start service method, stop service method, stop self, and if we talk about the bound, it is a bind service, unbind service. So we will discuss these in detail in further slides. So what is the started state? A service is started when an application component such as an activity starts its calling by start service. So in the previous lecture we discussed the activity. So I hope you covered that lecture in detail very carefully. So you all people know that what is an activity, right? Activity is the user interface. So once it's started, a service can run in the background indefinitely, even if the component that started it destroyed. And what is a bound state? A service is bound when an application component binds it by calling bind service. If we call the method bind service, then it is bound. A bound service offers a client-server interface that allows components to interact with the service, send requests, and get the result. So if sending the request and getting the result, and even do so across process with inter-process communication. So it can communicate with the different processes with the help of inter-process communication. So every one of you know that what is a client server. As we know, we work in the web technologies like client server technologies or languages are HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, JavaScript, jQuery. Each and everything is client side languages. And if you talk about the server side, there is the C#, Java, VB.NET, etc., etc. So how they interact with each other? Like that, bound service also offers a client service interface that allows components to interact with the service. So service is the background activity, and the other components on the user interface are at the front end. So bound and unbound service, if you look at it carefully, the call to the start service on the onCreate method, which is the first method by default method when you create the project, onStart command is being called and the service is running. The service is started by itself by a client. Our client will stop it or we stop it by itself. So when onDestroy method is being called, the service is shut down. That is for the unbound service. And if we call to the bind service, when onCreate method is being called, it is initiated, and then onBind method is being called. Clients are bound to the service here. Here the client is bound to the service. All clients unbind by calling onBind service. So the onBind method will be called, and then on destroy method will be called, and then the service will be shut down. So this is the active lifetime of bound and unbound service. So Android service methods are these fixed methods: on start command, on bind, on unbind, on rebind, on create, and on destroy. These are the Android service methods. That's the last topic. So we will discuss in detail one by one. On start command method, the system calls this method when an other component such as an activity requests that the service should be started by calling start service, and if you implement this method, it is your responsibility to stop the service when its work is done by calling stop self or stop service. So if we write the method public int on start command, intent in flags, in start id, there are three parameters in this method. So we are returning mstart mode. So we are starting the method. On bind method, the system calls this method when an other component wants to bind with the service by calling bind service. If you implement this method, you must provide an interface that clients use to communicate with the service by returning an iBinder object. You must always implement this method, but if you don't want to allow binding, then you should return null. So if we don't want any kind of binding, we can simply return null, but if we want to bind, then we will definitely returning the binder over here. On unbind method, the system calls this method when all clients have disconnected from a particular interface published by the service. So this method is only called then when clients have been disconnected from the particular interface, like an activity. And what is an activity? Activity is a user interface. So here's the method public boolean unbind intent return true or return false. On rebind method, the system calls this method when new clients have connected to the service after it had previously been notified that all had been disconnected in its unbind intent. So when all has been disconnected, then on rebind method is being called. On create method, the system calls this method when the service is first created using the onStart command or onBind command. This call is required to perform one-time setup. We know that when project is created in the Android, the first method is onCreate method. So onDestroy method. The system calls this method when the service is no longer used and is being destroyed. Your service should implement this to clean up any resources such as threads, registered listeners, receivers. So it depends that what should have been cleaned up from the code. We will discuss in detail on threads and on the registered listeners and the receivers. So if we get little intro about threads, what are the threads? And thread is an activity which is started, and we can set the timer on that. And the registered listeners are those we such like that we make a button, and when we click on the button, it takes a command. So it is listening the command. So it is a registered listener on that time. So public void destroy on destroy method, as we did in the logcat activity, it is used to destroy the activity. So let's discuss an example. This example will show how to create your own Android service. You just need to follow the steps to modify the Android application. The following is the content of the modified main activity, main activity.java file, that is the main file in the Android Studio. This file can include each of the fundamental lifecycle methods. We have added start service and stop service methods to start and stop the service. So here is the string message declared, and the string is Android, and here's the method public void start service, and the start service new intent get base context my service dot class. So that is the syntax you need to write as it is. Public void stop service view and the stop service new intent get base context my service dot class. So first method is to start the service and the second method is to stop the service. And here the following is the content of the myservice.java, an other class that is being added in the project. This file can have implementation of one or more methods associated with the service based on requirements. For now we are going to implement only two methods, onStart command and onDestroy. Public int onStart command, and there is also three arguments: toast dot make text, this service started toast dot length underscore long dot show. An Android service is a message and toast is a small message, and that is being displayed on top of the main content. Okay, and we are returning the start underscore sticky and public void on destroy. Here we are calling the on destroy method with the super keyword from the parent class, and the toast dot make text, this service is being destroyed, so it shows that the service is being destroyed at that time. And here is the XML file. Here we include the two buttons and the on click event included, start service, and here with the you can see that the stop service we also made on click event of stop service as well, so we can control these two buttons with the click event. And the output will be, when application run, the following screen will appear. So what is the name of service, example of the service application? Here are two buttons, start service and the and the stop service. And when click on start service button, this will start the service, and as per our programming in onStart command method, a message service started and will appear on the bottom of the simulator as follows. And when we click on the stop service button, this will stop the service, and as per our programming in destroy method, a message service destroyed and will appear on the bottom of the simulator as follows. I hope you people well understood the lecture, and your task is to implement this on your Android Studio. And if you face any difficulty, you can come to me and do SMS, email, and show your screenshots that what is not possible for you, and each and everything is written on this slides code, and you can just follow these steps and you can create the service, right? Thank you very much.